So today I'm going to be installing the Tusk Pannier racks, and with that I have the soft Pannier bag quick release, quick mount and quick release, and of course I have two of the bags here. I have two bottle holders with their Molly, I don't know what they're called, but they're like sticks. And here I have the dry bags for those pannier. And to get started to install it, you have to remove your existing rack if you have one. If not, you just take the four tie downs and you leave the OEM step washers in there. And then the next step is to remove these passenger foot pegs. The reason for having to remove this panel is that after you remove the cotter pin and the washer, you cannot move the pin anymore in order to remove the foot peg. Now that I removed that side fairing, that panel, we can see what the pin was butting up against, and that is the battery tray, the battery holder. So now we see that it's more involved than I originally thought. So after much messing around here, I know that the instructions that came with the Tusk Pannier racks are for the 300L, not the 300L Rally. What I've decided, instead of trying to remove everything here and take everything apart, undo this loom, cut that zip tie, and do all that stuff, instead what I decided to do was just remove the battery, and I'm just going to cut a hole over here just for this to get through. I know it's a one-time thing because I will be getting rid of the passenger foot pegs because the pannier racks will be taking its place here. But I would rather I'd rather just cut a hole than do all that. This battery tray should be an inexpensive replacement part if I need to, for whatever reason, put back one without a cutout on it. But yeah, I'm just gonna take a Dremel to this and cut a nice U shape here, or a notch, and then get this pin out, because I've been fighting this for some time now, and it's not fun. So it looks like a box cutter will do. I just cut a square notch, and I'll show that to you. Just I'll give you a closer look here. It's actually a pretty, I know it looks kind of jagged, but that's the foam. The cut is actually perfectly square. If you're gonna go that route, there's no need to remove those 4 bolts. There's no need to remove them. Just remove one instead. Get the battery holder out of the way. Remove the battery. Oh, sorry, you have to unscrew first the negative and the positive terminal. Remove the battery. Pick up the pin to line it up, and on the edge of one head, on the edge of the side of one side of the head, you mark, and then the other side of the head you mark. You let the pin drop, cut straight, perpendicular, so it's the 90-degree angle on both sides. And once you cut about half an inch, or about not quite half an inch, maybe a quarter of an inch, once you do that, you take pliers, fold it up, and then cut straight from the bottom. So the first thing we're going to do now is replace the battery, reconnect the terminals, clean all this up, put the bolts back. One thing to note, putting back these 4 bolts for the battery tray, only one of them is not a stepped bolt. The other 3 have this step. The one that's not stepped is for here. So after removing that, we're now free to remove the pin for the right side passenger foot peg. Now that the seat and the fairings, all the panels are back in, now it's time to install the racks themselves. All right, to install the rack, I have to prepare all the hardware for one side. Note that these washers have to go all the way in through the hole of the seat has these holes. They have to go all the way through that. If you look at the step on the black washer, there's nowhere for it to go. So this butts up right against the plastic inside the black plastic inside that red piece, that red plastic, and it butts up right against it. It doesn't go any deeper. So this just kind of adds an additional depth that prevents you from installing such a long washer. So I'm just going to remove the black ones, and I'm not going to tighten these yet. I'm just going to start them. Same thing here. Now before I tighten everything up, the last part is this, which is the rear bracket that connects the two, the left and the right side pannier racks. If you have the Tusk rear rack, these hardware that comes with the pannier racks are actually redundant, because the rear rack also comes with the same bits, and those are the two long bolts, two shorter bolts, and then the two long washers and two shorter washers. I'm just going to reuse the one that came with the rear rack, so I'm not going to use these. For the rear bracket, in that same package, you'll find 4 shorter bolts for each hole with the 4 nylock nuts. Oops. Okay. $10mm socket and 10mm open ended wrench. I'm going to tighten these. All right, and here's the close-up. We're all done. Everything is lined up nicely. Everything's lined up beautifully. These 2 bolts ended up being all the way on the inside of this rear bracket or rear support. Same thing on the other side. I'm not sure why there's a gap there, but it lines up everywhere else. Personally, I think it looks great. Very high quality rear panniers, and very, very good for the money. I bought these racks with the bags and the ball holders as a kit for $410. So the first things to address here, because these bags are asymmetrical, although you could put one on the left and one on the right and vice versa, they're not symmetrical. One side has a MOLLE webbing and the other side does not. Now, this is before you mount these onto these frames, and before you mount these frames onto these brackets, and then the bag onto those frames, you have to decide first, do you want the MOLLE webbing towards your leg or away from your leg, towards the rear wheel? So this is how it looks installed. I haven't tightened it down yet. I just wanted to mock it up and see how it looks. To do this installation, let me go over it here. The shorter bolts and the longer bolts are what you need. There will be 8 total for the longer ones because there will be 4, and 6 total for the shorter ones because there will be 3 on each side. Right? So the shorter one goes top to bottom like this. In between, there will be a washer. And on the other side of the short bolts will be the acorn nut. For the longer one, there'll still be a washer. But instead of acorn nuts, you have these nuts. And for the longer ones, they go from the bottom going up. And then they recommend you use Loctite for the top 3 bolts on the acorn nut side, but I will Loctite all 7 of them. All right, that's one side done. Loctite and tightened. Now I'm going to do the other side, and then after that I'll install the bags. So one thing I'm doing to install the bag to the frame is, this is the bottom of the bag. I have the strap come out through the frame into the loop and then back into the frame and then back out the loop, because once I've tightened this, once I've cinched this down, it will be the only way to keep the bag from moving around on the frame. If I just pass it once and then directly onto this, I don't know what this is called, this buckle thing, if I just pass it on once like that, then this will move up and down. It's not really going to hold it. Like if I just do this, I don't think it's going to be as secure. So I'm going to, again, get the strap, loop it around the frame first, and then in and then back out again. Like this. Strap from the bag, go through the frame, out into the D-ring or D-loop, back into the frame, and then back out again under the D-loop. Right there, you see it sticking out. Start pulling there, like that. There's probably a better way to show it. See there? Okay, out, into the D-loop, back through the D-loop. And when you cinch it down, when you tighten it, it is not going anywhere. It is on there really, really good. Grab one end and then grab the other end and just pull sideways, and that's how you tighten it. Do it at the same time with both hands, and I'll do the last one and do the same thing. After strapping the bag to the frame, I am not going to tighten these yet, because I don't know how much luggage I'll be carrying, and you always tighten that after your bag is full. When this strap goes all the way around into this buckle thing, the double D-ring, but I don't know what it's called. When it goes through there, it's dependent on how you pack your bag, because the width of this bag or how compressed it is will depend on you cinching this down. So there's no sense in doing it in some convoluted way to tighten it and keep it secure, and then you can't tighten it, right? So I just passed the strap in, back in again, and through here, and now I can pull it and cinch it down this way, and just use the keeper, the strap keeper, to keep it from backing out while you're on your trip. And another thing to note that I forgot to mention when I did this bag that I'm doing now here, when you cinch down the sides, now this part has to be secure because this is not something that you have to adjust over and over. When you cinch down both sides and by pulling on the strap in opposite directions, I feel like a stewardess here on a flight. So you cinch it down by pulling both in two different directions. You have to make sure that they're the same length. That way when you put the straps to the front, you don't have one that's super long and the other one's super short. They're equal on both ends, right? And this strap, it does connect all the way across to the other side. It's one strap. So you have to make sure of that. I forgot to mention about this double D-ring here, the metal one that's on the top side, the one that has the buckle that goes over your seat to connect the two bags. So I've loosened the top strap so that I can show you how to do it here. All right, so I'm going to do both of these now. And because this is one of the things that's kind of one and done, and you're not going to really remove these anymore. And this is because the bag is attached to the frame and they're going to become one piece that mounts then to your pannier racks, right? So instead what you should do is this strap, you should make it as long as possible by loosening the buckle. Let it go in through the D-ring, out the double D-ring, capture the frame, back out, and then into the inside of the double D-ring, and then back out to the inside of the double D-ring. Make sure you have about an inch and a half or an inch and a quarter, and then you tighten the outside strap to keep it in place. So the excess strap on the inside is going to be about the length of my thumb. And then once that's nice and snug in there, and it's the right length, you then pull the outside to capture the frame. And this is how it should look when it's tightened. Once you pull on this end where the buckle is, it should tighten, and this 1.5 inch or so slack here should not move. It should not follow when you tug on this. And you do that on both sides first before you do these four on the sides. Note that one side will be longer and the other side will be shorter. It'll be the opposite for the other bag, so the two buckles will still meet in the middle. Or you can have them meet on the side so that this doesn't create an imprint on the top of your seat if you have something else sitting on the top rack. But this is how it looks once it's tightened. Again, the slack on the bottom equal 1.5 inches, and I'm going to tighten these by pulling on both ends. All right, so now I have both bags on the racks. Just checking the clearance between the bag and the muffler. Now, to show the installation, this bag, rather than unbuckling and then undoing all that, the strap keeper, what I like to do instead is I just like to shove this on the side, like that. That way I can access the top of the bag. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Shove it on the side. Now I can access the bag on the inside. Now I'm going to do these straps. Put the dry bag inside. Check first if it has any tears or any problems with the seams before you proceed with the installation, because you might want to bring it up with Rocky Mountain ATV and motorcycle and ask them to exchange it. So I'm going to do this now, and then once I'm done, I'm going to install the bottle holder. And this is how the bags look. Just strap down on top. I think they look great. Very solid, high quality, for a very reasonable price. I like it. I like it a lot. Now I'm going to install the bottle holders. To install the sticks with the molly webbing, so I installed both ends right there. All you have to do is starting with the stick. The stick with the rib side faces the molly webbing that you're starting with. So in this case, I started with the bottle holder. Therefore, I have the ribbed side facing the bottle holder. And the reason for that is because if you pull this, you'll see how this slides up and down. Now, if you're starting with this stick towards the ball holder's molly webbing, that means this will clip onto that molly webbing that you started with. And that's why you face it that way. And this is like sort of like a keeper that keeps the stick from backing out. I don't know how well you can see that there, but it's clipped on to the molly webbing for the bottle. And all you really have to do is, as you insert the stick with your right hand, your left hand kind of just opens the molly webbing to let it fish through. And you do that alternating between the bottle, the pannier bag, bottle, pannier bag, all the way till you get to the bottom. And the last one will be the bottle. And the stick will stick out like that. And the ball's on there good. And this is how it looks. Now, obviously, this is not loaded. Once this is loaded, it'll go out to about that wide, straight up and down. And the same thing goes here. And then this one right now, it's maybe in a 40, 45, 50 liter mode. But I just unroll this 2 times or 3 times, and it'll be up to here, like that. And that would be 60 liter. So it's not that bad. So there you have it. That's how I have my bike set up. And I think that looks great. I think that looks pretty nicely kitted out for an adventure. Now I just have to get ready for an adventure. And if I ever need to use a cabin or a hotel, very easy. I just lengthen this strap, unhook it on all 4 corners, bring this with me using this handle. Same thing goes with this luggage with a quick disconnect. Whether cabin or hotel, just carry it with me, bring it inside. And also, instead of a 1-man tent, I have a 2-man tent. And the reason for that is I can keep these inside the tent as well, especially if it's rainy or whatnot. As for the bag, I can just unbuckle it like so on both sides. And then here I have a handle, and I walk away with it. That's it. So, and I have it here on the pannier racks, and then the other side I have it on the rear rack. And that's how I have it set up. It's pretty cool. I'm excited. I can't wait to use it. It's been a long time since I've gone adventuring,